Hello everyone, this is another Warhammer 3 battle replay. I am playing as Khorne, and I'm playing against Kislev, being led by Katarine. This is another Domination mode, and this is the first time, again, that I am playing Khorne in a Domination mode. Mostly I've been sticking to Tzeentch, as he is my preferred Chaos God. But Khorne's pretty cool too. He also has, without a doubt, the most fleshed out demon roster. Like all the other demon rosters are pretty tiny, maybe like 6, 7 units, but Khorne's got like 15. So he's got a few things he can bring. Anyway, I took Skarsbrand the Exiled. I think he's a cool guy. He has this neato item, Slaughter and Carnage. The more units he kills, the more damage he does, basically. So he does a little farming. I've got Chaos Warriors with halberds, and then some guys with shields. I have 2 of the cultists. Same principle that I talked about last time I was playing as Tzeentch. I like a unit that can summon guys. Just kind of seems strong. Also, on their own, their stats are pretty good. Like they're not incredible, but with Frenzy, it's pretty solid. I like these units a lot. How much? Yeah, the armor piercing isn't that bad. So these are the 3 capture points. There's one in this corner, one in the middle past this terrain, and then one guy over here. And my opponent brought a very elite army. So he has Katarine on her bear, and she has what spell? She has the Heart of Winter, which is like a big AoE speed debuff and damage spell. Pretty useful, especially against like high quality troops. I can't see how much armor piercing damage this does, but it looks like it does a lot of damage the later the phases go. It's also really expensive on the Winds of Magic 24. And then he has Ice Shard, which is fine. It's just a magic missile. It does inflict a little speed debuff. Apart from that, he's got Zargard, more Zargard, and more Zargard, the most elite infantry unit. So these guys will definitely beat my Khorne warriors who only have shields, if only because these guys just have more leadership, so they'll just stick around longer. They have really good melee defense. How much do my warriors have? They have 40. I mean, it's good, but they're going to be hard-pressed to actually hit each other. And I think the Zargards will win in the end. He also has a Snow Leopard teleported in from an alternative dimension, the Age of Sigmar. Pretty good against Skarsbrand being anti-large and armor-piercing. And then just a couple of Kossars with bows and spears, very lightly armored, but pretty useful archer unit. He has 3 of them. So let's begin. I wish I could get rid of this banner here at the bottom. It's kind of obnoxious. I mean, like, these things already say how long they're locked for, and it says up here too. Anyway, Snow Leopard's moving out. I'm just casually walking my army forward versus running, because don't need to burn vigor moving forward. It doesn't really benefit me to get into position faster. That just means, he's going to be able to shoot me with his bows sooner. And Khorne has very limited ranged options, so I'm just trying to take my time. I summon another Chaos Warrior with shields. Having 100 armor, these guys can hold for a long time. So I basically tell them, hey, just go sit on Objective 3. And just hang out there. My opponent's forces and my own are just sort of positioning, getting ready for this center engagement. I'm keeping Skarsbrand out of the range of the archers. My opponent summons his, some dervishes, pretty squishy cavalry units, but they're very fast. That's their principal advantage. They're fast and they're cheap. I guess they have a lot of mass. And yeah, we're just moving forward. I summon some Fleshhounds of Khorne, and I tell them to go for the dervishes, but instead they start queuing. I don't know what's going on. Just I mean, whatever. It's a launch Total War title. What can you expect? So the Zargard are moving around. There's like this little obstacle here in the middle that's making this formation kind of awkward, but they're ripping some shots into my soldiers who've got their shields up, taking pretty inconsequential damage. And the Zargard are here. Looks like they're going to get the charge. Skarsbrand actually making the first engagement here, just slamming through those guys, doing about as much damage as one volley of arrows. So yeah, the more kills he gets, you can already see his weapon strength is slowly increasing, and it's just going to get more the more kills he gets. So this is pretty good for me. What's going on over here? Oh, the Flesh Hounds finally went on those dervishes. My opponent has summoned in some bears to try to harass me off of the third objective. In the meantime, I get some more Flesh Hounds of Khorne, and I path them around Katarine and surround her. Oh, it looks like she's doing her big AoE debuff spell. Yeah, it's really mulching my Chaos Warriors here. I get my cultists, and we're summoning some Bloodletters in the back to harass his archer units, but Katarina is exposed, and Skar's brand is on his way, even though he is very slowed down. Some more dervishes to help the bears kill those warriors, but it's going to take the bears a long time. There's not many models of them, and they're mostly an anti-large unit. But we've got the Ice Queen. She's fully surrounded, and Skar's brand has pretty amazing combat stats. I've rampaged her too with one of his abilities, so she cannot move. My warriors are just fleeing. Thankfully, my summoned Bloodletters are here. They're not going to trade super well against the Zargard, given that they have super low armor and they're being shot by Kossars. But that's why we've got our Hound units. We've got our Hound units to harass those guys. My Hound units over here killed the dervishes completely, so we're taking that objective. And over here, we've just got like an insane brawl that's going to last forever. You know, no one's going to take that objective for a while. But yeah, the summoned Bloodletters proving to be pretty nice. You know, they occupy all the Zargard. And we kill his lord. So that's great. Killed his lord in 4 minutes. Pretty amazing. We've got his hounds harassing these archer units. I have furies going after these spear archer units. And my other flesh hounds, which were from, I don't know, the previous objective, are coming in on these spearmen. He summons in a couple armored Kossars with great weapons. These guys just hit really hard, have big armor-piercing damage, and are pretty tanky themselves. They're not anywhere as good as Zargard. So these guys here in the middle are sort of just getting feasted upon by Skar's brand. And this Snow Leopard really should be hitting Skar's brand. It's, yeah, that would be in his best interest to do so. These Flesh Hounds, so these are not the normal, like, Chaos Hound unit. These are like an advanced version, like some sort of superb dog. These guys are crazy good. Really incredibly strong dog unit. I mean, they're squishy, but they're very fast, and they hit monstrously hard. So, yeah. And over here, my Chaos Warriors are still not broken. Not yet. I've been fighting for a good couple minutes now. Yeah, we're just kind of brawling here in the middle. These Zargard are really holding, getting buffed up by the Buy Our Blood passive. So if their leadership starts wavering, they become unbreakable for 30 seconds. Matters a lot when you get army losses triggering. And also, of course, for just sitting and holding an objective, but I am taking the second point. I've been holding the first objective. He's got some dervishes over there. I'm just sending some harpies to go harass them. Harpies with Frenzy, I think, should win if they have the charge. So, yeah, we capture the victory point. We finally knock away all these Kislev troops at pretty great cost. My own Chaos Warriors that I spawned with are almost completely dead. Skar's brand is at half HP, but yeah, look at that damage. He's like doubled his weapon strength. Oh, it went down. Strange. He must have some item that's like when he's in a melee. Anyway. More, yeah, these armored Kossars over here just sort of like waiting, positioning around. I'm trying to like keep his dervishes off so that way they don't get an incredible rear charge against my furies, but they do it anyway, and you can see just how impactful a charge can be. Like boosting these stats, their attack and weapon strength, just melt my furies immediately. Versus the other Furies, which actually successfully defeated that group of dervishes. Now here he summons his second unit of Warbear Riders. These guys pretty dangerous to anything large, such as Skar's brand, or my Chaos Hounds, or my Furies. He does finally kill my warriors over here, but we're winning on points. We are losing the first objective, but it's pretty hotly contested. I've got some halberdiers walking in from the other side of the map. And I teleported my cultists back home, and I resummoned them. So you can do that for... Basically, you have to repay their cost in supplies, but you get all their abilities back, so I now have 2 summons of Bloodletters again. So this fight's going to go super well over here. My Halberdiers will just chop those guys up. And he's finally pushing with his Armored Cossars, along with some of his reinforcements from the 3rd point. So he's getting a pretty good clump over here. And I've got some tattered warriors and some Bloodletters I actually recruited. And Skar's Brand, of course, and Skar's Brand's just going to, like, farm off these guys, too. But I see he's got a very nice clump here, and this entire time I've been holding up... So all the Chaos Demons have a, like, army ability tree. So this is one of Khorne's. Wow, that was incredibly effective. So Khorne, the non-magical god, uses his spell of plunging a giant sword from the sky, and I just completely insta-gib these spearmen. The 2 armored units lose half their HP instantly, and on top of that, I move 2 cultists over who summon Bloodletters on top of the armored Cossars, and these guys are already buckling, so the Bloodletters are just going to mulch them. Like, Bloodletters are... This is what they're designed to do, like, kill these particular types of units. Over here, the bears have arrived, but it's not going to be a good fight for them because my halberdiers finished off all those dervishes, and warbear riders not going to do good against halberdiers. Good response from my opponent, falling back smartly, does not want to get trapped by those halberdiers. He summons in 2 snow leopards, smart choice. Those guys will do good work against Skar's Brand, who is doing an absolutely ludicrous amount of damage per hit now.
One of your units has been destroyed.
He still owns the 3rd objective. I guess I should have... Yeah, I should have summoned something earlier to go deal with that. I've got the points. I could summon in, like, a dog. Yeah, here comes Skar's Brand. Just throwing his axes down. Just immediately killing a model. Just basically every swing he kills something. So, yeah, you can see, like, he starts to snowball and he just gets more and more powerful, but I did lose a lot of HP in that initial skirmish. And my opponent's just sort of content to, like, reform his forces. He doesn't have very much, but what he does have is very expensive and pretty elite. And on top of that, he summons his artillery piece, Little Grom. Interesting choice. This thing does quite a bit of armor-piercing damage. It looks like he's firing it at my Chaos Halberd. Back here so we can see how much damage this does. And, you know, I mean, killed a lot of them. Killed a lot of Norskin people in one shot. So I pull back a little bit. Don't really want to get hit by that too much, but at the same time I don't want to charge off the point into Little Grom. Yeah, that second shot, geez, that's pretty bad. So I'm chasing this horde down. I have some Skull Crushers of Khorne I recruited. I really like all the mortal units Khorne has. These guys, maybe not the best choice against bears, but at this point I wasn't really worried about losing, honestly. Like, my opponent's army is kind of thinned out, at least so I thought, before he summoned in 2 dervishes. Now, dervishes aren't going to beat this army, but they are going to distract my army and successfully kill my lord with his snow leopards if Skar's Brand is rampaging, because I foolishly clicked the rampage button. Although he did have 1.3k weapon strength, so these bear units are being absolutely deleted one after another, but he is losing a lot of HP. These snow leopards are just tearing him up. And unfortunately, because he's rampaged, I can't control him. I use the Horn of Khorne, another class-wide ability, giving, or I should say racial ability, giving all these guys 24 melee attack. So his melee attack is insane. And he should be probably dying here. I've got some harpies and some fast units I'm trying to bring in to save his life, to like body block, but he's getting pretty low. Probably not going to make it out. The Furies come in. You know, they actually block the Snow Leopards pretty efficiently. But, you know, Skar's Brand, he's bleeding out. He's going to get some more hits in. Look at how much damage he did. One shot, and he rampaged that guy. Like, took him to half HP with one blow. And then, yeah, wow, 800 damage with one attack. So he does breathe fire, and that's the last breath he'll ever take, but he scares that cat back to Age of Sigmar. And yeah, at this point, my opponent has nothing left. He has, like, Little Grom, which is just sort of firing. And, you know, it's definitely done some damage against these halberdiers. Just a little too late, however, because I've got all 3 objectives, I've got 1 billion points up, I have a ton of supplies. Not really much to say. So that was that, and let me look at the value. So Skar's brand, you know, he's not as good as Kairos, at least in the last battle, but, you know, he got pretty good value. He definitely paid for himself, easily. Only 98 kills is not the most impressive. Perhaps Skar's brand is more efficient against Nurgle, because Nurgle will generally have tons and tons of units that'll just, like, you know, he'll just throw Nurglings and Plague Bears to his death, and Skar's brand can just farm them for easy points. But even against these really elite, really super heavy Zargard, he still did great. You know, like, fantastic against them. And these, yeah, see, the Kossars with Spears were actually better value than the Zargard, relatively. But the Zargard did sort of provide that, like, really intense anchor, and he was just able to, like, hold me in the middle for a long time. The problem was the other assets didn't really do anything. Like, there was a lot of dervishes, which pulled a lot of units around, and they forced me to summon my own fast units, and these dervishes all did great. Like, especially these guys, 900 gold value, that's great. These guys got a chevron, yeah, that's all good. These bear units, they did okay, relatively okay. The Little Grom, yeah, even with 59 kills, even with just shooting my halberds for half the game, it didn't even come close to paying for itself. Yeah, I don't know if that artillery unit was the best choice. And of course, these armored Kossars, I mean, you saw what happened to them. They got nuked from orbit. That was pretty decisive. If those units were still alive, I'm sure he could have done a lot more. And the Snow Leopards just didn't really work. I also just kind of hate the unit because it doesn't. I don't think it fits at all in the setting. But that's just my own personal bias. So the cultists did not get a huge amount of gold value damage done on their own, but you really have to think of the tactical strength that they provide by allowing you to just summon units in and block your opponent's army off. It's an unforeseeable... Basically, it's a useful trait. It's just not exactly quantifiable, because sometimes it's more useful than other times. Like what value did bringing those 2 cultists in? Well, basically, I killed these 2 units, and I killed these 2 units, or, you know, two of these 3. And if I couldn't do that, then I could not hold that middle objective. Like, Skar's brand he was like half HP, and I had a really tattered unit of Chaos Warriors of Khorne. Yeah, my Chaos Warriors just got absolutely dumpstered. These guys did nothing. They just, like, died. They died to her big AoE ice spell. So yeah, that really didn't work at all. My Skull Crushers, though, these guys did good. They still didn't pay for themselves because this unit is crazy expensive, but considering how little damage they took, they still had a lot more HP to accumulate value over. I never summoned these guys. The halberds just kind of got shot by artillery fire, which is fine. These Bloodletters did okay. You know, they paid for themselves. I never summoned these guys. This unit was solid. And these dogs, yeah, these dogs are great. They, like, always pay for themselves. They're 700 gold, in case you're not aware. And yeah, these Hound units, these ones are really cheap. These are the 400. This is the generic Chaos War Hound. And Furies, as always, fantastic unit. Probably should have taken more Furies, maybe less, you know, 1 less Bloodletter, 1 less Skull Crusher. Just take 5 Furies. Furies are a pretty amazing unit. Anyway, it was well played to my opponent. I think he, honestly, considering how bad the beginning went for him, losing his Lord, that is, like, getting his Lord sniped, I think he was doing good. Like, I like the Little Grom play. I think he just needed to support it with more things. Like, he attacked with a bunch of dervishes and with a bear unit, and then he attacked with a little Grom, and I think if all of those were just in tandem, then he would have done a lot better. His Snow Leopards, you know, it was kind of cute that they came in at the end to snipe Skar's brand, but they didn't provide much value at that point in the game. You need a lot of mass. You really need infantry, because infantry is what holds objectives. And if you're not going for the objective game, then you need something that just like kills your opponent's army. Like a magical red sword that you summon from the sky with the Chaos God that can't do magic. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.